Okay, welcome guys to today's walkthrough where we'll be going through the November 2018 higher paper 1. Okay, just to make sure, can everybody hear okay? Just let me know in the live comments box if you're able to hear. Okay, so the sound should be okay. Now, as I said, so today we'll be looking at the higher paper. Last week we went through the November 2018 foundation paper 1, so I thought today let's have a look at the higher as well. Now there is a crossover of a number of questions in the paper that also came in the foundation as well. So from question number 1 all the way through to question number 7, up to question 7, these are all the same questions from the foundation paper, okay, which I went through last week, which I'll be going through again today. Now just a little bit on grade boundaries for the higher paper, okay. It's one of the lowest grade boundaries there were to get a pass. Okay, it's significantly lower than the foundation paper, which I explained last week in my video. So the grades, to get a grade 4 in this higher paper, across all three of the papers, paper 1, 2 and 3, you only needed 37 marks out of 240. Okay, which is very low. Okay, it's like 15%. Okay, so the pass grade for the higher paper of this one in particular for November 2018 was only 15%. So I mean that means you're looking at about 13 marks per paper. Okay, meaning if you got 13 marks on paper 1, 13 marks on paper 2 and 13 marks on paper 3, then you would have got that grade 4. Okay, and we mentioned, I mean last week for the foundation paper it was significantly higher. It was almost 100 marks higher. In the foundation you actually needed 132 marks out of 240 to get a grade 4. Okay, a grade 5, coming back to the high paper, for a grade 5 you needed 66 marks, and for a grade 6 you needed 95 marks. Okay, grade 7 125 marks, grade 8 159, and a grade 9 194 marks out of 240. Okay, so I mean you can average it out. I mean, for example, if you're aiming for a grade 5, 66 in total across 3 papers, so you're looking at 22 marks per paper. Okay, if you're aiming for a grade 6, that's 95 in total. Average that across 3 of the papers, it's going to be about 32 marks, approximately 32 marks per paper. Each paper is out of 80 marks. Okay, so let's start then looking at this paper. Let's go to question number 1. Okay, and obviously I want to make this session as interactive as possible. Okay, so please use the live comments box to ask any questions. If you want me to go through anything a bit slower or repeat anything, just please let me know. Some of the feedback I got from my last video was that you prefer it to break down the session. Okay, so instead of going through the full paper, which took me which the last video was about nearly 2 hours, a lot of feedback I got was to break it down, go a bit slower, and maybe do it in 2 sessions. Okay, so the idea today is I want to go through maybe do a 1 hour session and do another session at a later date. Okay, just to really make sure you understand the paper. Okay, because one thing I really want to make sure is that you guys you got retention and you're understanding it. Okay, and you're not losing any focus. Okay, so the main purpose of these sessions is ultimately to break down each past paper, looking for deeper understanding of each of the questions and understand the best exam technique. Okay, and I'm planning on going through as many past papers as I can between now and summer. Okay, and you can follow me on Facebook where I post the dates and times of whenever I do these sessions. Okay, so let's start by looking at question number 1. Question number 1, we've got a question on indices. So we've got 3 to the power of 7 multiplied by 3 to the power of negative 2, all of that divided by 3 cubed. Okay, work out the value of it. Okay, so when he says work out the value of it, it means we want to write down the answer. Okay, we don't want to just simplify it. Simplifying is not enough. We need to write down what the actual value of this would be. And obviously this is non-calculator. Okay, so first we need to do is actually simplify. When we got the same base number, remember what we do to the powers. Okay, you have to add the powers. Okay, and remember the first rule of indices: any number to a particular power multiplied by the same number, the same base number, to a different power, you just have to add the two powers, m add n. Okay, so here we've got 3 to the power of 7 times by 3 to the power of negative 2, so that becomes 3 to the power of 7 add negative 2. Okay, 3 to the power of 7 add negative 2, divide that by 3 cubed, so 7 add negative 2. Remember, adding a negative is the same as subtraction, so that's the same as saying 7 take away 2, which is 5, divided by 3 cubed. Now the second rule of indices is that when we've got the same base number, and this time when we're dividing, we don't add the powers, we subtract the powers. Okay, so this becomes 3 to the power of 5 take away 3, so 5 take away 3 is 2. So it simplifies down to 3 squared. Now remember what I said earlier, the question is not just asking us to simplify, but it wants us to write down the value. So 3 squared, the answer to 3 squared is 9. Okay, and that's the answer to question number 1. Okay, for 2 marks. 1 mark for simplifying and showing 3 squared, and the second mark for actually writing down the value of 3 squared. Okay, you don't just leave the answer as 3 squared, you want the actual value. Okay, moving on, question number 2. Here we've got a question on substitution, where we've got v squared equals u squared plus 2as. We're told that u equals 12, a equals minus 3, s equals 18. Work out the value of v. So all we're going to do, I'm going to write the same equation again, exactly as it is. So we got v squared equals u squared. We're told u is 12, so it's going to become 12 squared. Add 2 times by a times by s. So 2 times by a is minus 3 and s is 18. Okay, so it looks a little bit like this. So we've got 12 squared. I'm going to break it down each one now. So we've got 12 squared is 144. Add. Okay, so now we've got 2 times by negative 3. Okay, so we've got 2 times by negative 3. So remember, when you got a positive times a negative, the answer is always negative. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 16 multiplied by 18. Okay, you're gonna have to do remembering bid mass now. So multiplication before addition. So 16 times by 18. We can do the working out here. 16 times by 18. 8 times 6, 48, carry the 4. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 add 4 is 12. Going to the tens column, add a 0. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. Add these up. 8, 8. So you got 288. Obviously that's a negative 16 times by positive 18. So the answer is going to be a negative 288. So v squared equals 144 take away 288. Okay. Okay, yeah. Slight error. Okay, so silly mistake. That's minus 6, not minus 16. I don't know where I got that from. So minus 6 times 18. Okay, do that again. Is minus 108. Okay, my bad. Minus 108. Okay, so 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Okay, and 6 times 18, so that's a negative 6 times 18 is a negative 108. So therefore v squared equals 144 take away 108, which is 36. Nearly there. So we want to work out just the value of v. Okay, so if v squared is 36, if you want to work out what v is, remember, do the inverse operation. So what's the opposite of squaring a number? Opposite of squaring a number is square root. Okay, so let's work out the square root of 36. So v equals positive or negative 6. Okay, now the reason why it's that, because the answer is a positive 6, or the answer could be negative 6 as well, because positive 6 times 6 is 36, but also negative 6 times negative 6 is also 36. Okay, so anytime, remember, when you square root a number, give the positive and the negative answers. Okay, so the answer here is plus and minus 6. Okay, any questions on part A? Okay, if everyone's okay, let's look at part B. Okay, so part B says make S the subject of v squared equals u squared plus 2as. Okay, so now we're just going to be rearranging this equation. We want to make S the subject. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite it again. So we got v squared equals u squared, add 2as. Okay. So we want to make S the subject. Now notice we've got the u squared here, and we've got a plus, and this S is being multiplied by 2a. So the first thing we need to do is I'm going to rearrange it by getting rid of that u squared, which is a positive u squared, isn't it? So remember, one way when you're rearranging equations, when you're balancing equations, when it changes side, it changes sign. Okay, so you do the inverse operation. So the opposite of a plus u squared is minus u squared. So that becomes v squared minus u squared equals 2as. Okay, so now we want to make S the subject, right? But we're left with 2a in front of it. Okay, now that 2a means it's doing 2a times by S. Okay, so we're multiplying by 2a. So what's the opposite of multiplying by 2a? We can balance the equation by dividing by 2a. Okay, so we get v squared minus u squared, divide that by 2a, and we're left with just S on that side. So make S the subject. S equals v squared minus u squared, all of that divided by 2a. Okay, that's 4 marks for question number 2. Okay, any questions up to this point? Okay, if we're okay, I can carry on. Now, there seems to be a delay in asking a question and responding. Make sure, you know, when you're watching the live stream, if I can just show you, make sure, do you know where it says live next to the volume, that there's a red dot. Okay. Now, look. So if you notice, if you can see my screen, can you see here live is grey, isn't it? If you actually click, it says skip ahead to live broadcast, then it goes live then. Okay, and then you'll be in real time, basically. Okay, so it basically makes the questions, you'll be asking in real time, and there won't be a delay. Okay. All right, let's carry on then. Question number 3. So here we're told that a bonus of £2,100 is shared by 10 people who work for a company. 40% of the bonus is shared equally between 3 managers. The rest of the bonus is shared equally between 7 salesmen. One of the salesmen says, if the bonus is shared equally between all 10 people, I'll get 25% more money. Is he correct? You must show how you get your answer. Okay, so now questions like these kind of worded questions, okay, there's a lot of information to take in. Okay, and my advice is using a highlighter or underlining. Okay, you extract the key information. Okay, so first thing we're told is that the bonus is £2,100 is shared by 10 people. All right, now 40% of that £2,100 is shared between 3 of the managers. Okay, now the rest of the bonus, however much it is, so 60%, is going to be shared equally between 7 salesmen. Alright, now one of the salesmen, he makes a claim and he says that if the bonus is shared, the full 2,100 bonus is shared between 10 people, I'll get 25% more money as opposed to sharing the 60% between 7 people. Now, question like this, as I said, okay, there's a number of ways we can do it, okay, but essentially what we need to do first of all is work out how much do the managers get and what's left for the salesman. Okay, so the managers, they get 40% of the bonus. Okay, so we need to work out 40% of 2,100. Okay, so percentages of amounts. Remember, when we're doing this with our calculator, always start off with 10% is always the easiest. Okay, so if we know that 10% of 2,100 is 210, yeah, then 40% is going to be 210 times by 4. So 40% of £2,100 is going to be £840. Okay, so the managers, they're going to share £840 between 3 of them. Now the remaining money, okay, so 60% is going to be shared between the salesmen. Okay, so let's look at how much the salesmen get. You can either do 2,100 and subtract 840. Okay, guess we'll do that then. So 2,100 take away 840, and let's see what they're left with. Okay, or alternatively, you can work out 60%. Well, you know 2%, you know 10% is 210. 60%, you can times that by 6. Okay, but I'm just going to subtract. So we got 0 take away 0, 0. 0 take away 4, you can't do. Borrow from the 1, give 0 there. 10 take away 4 is 6. 0 take away 8, you can't do. Carry from here, it's 1 there. 10 take away 8 is 2. That's 1 here. Okay, so the salesmen, they share £1,260. Okay, how many salesmen were there? There was 7. So therefore, the 7 salesmen, they're going to get 1,260. How much do they get each? Divide that by 7. So 12 divided by 7 is 1, remainder 5. 56 divided by 7 is 8, 0. So the salesmen, they get £180 each. Okay, the salesmen, they get £180 each. Now, what's the claim? The claim is, change the colour. The salesmen, they claim that if the bonus is shared equally between all 10 people, I'll get 25% more money. So let's work out how much would they have got if that was shared equally. Well, if it was shared equally, it'll be 2,100 divided by 10, which is £210. Okay, now what they're saying is that, you know, this £210, that this £210, this is 25% more than what I would have got. What they actually got was £180, wasn't it? So at this stage, what we need to do is work out what is 25% more than 180, and then see if that's more or less than the claimed amount of £210. So 25, so increasing £180 by 25%. So we want to basically increase £180 by 25%. So 25% of 180. 25% is a nice percentage to work with because it's a quarter, and we can work out a quarter very easily by halving and then halving again. So 180, if we half it, it's 90. Half it again, it's 45. So it's going to be 180 add 45, which is £225. So what they're saying then is that if their money was shared equally, then they'll be getting £225. Now, let's look at the question carefully now. They're saying that if the bonus is shared equally between all 10 people, I'll get 25% more money. Is that true? Yes or no? Are they correct? Look at the numbers that we've got. Are they correct? Okay. Now, so they claim is that they're gonna get equally, which is gonna be £210. Is £210 more than £225? No, it's not. It's less than 25% more than what they would have got. Okay, 25% more than what they would have got would be £225. Okay, but if the money was shared equally, they'd only get £210. Okay, so therefore, you make a sentence. Okay, that no. Okay, the claim is not correct. Okay, let's write that down. So, is the salesman correct? Okay, answer is no. Okay, they would not get 25% more money. Yeah, you got it. That's right. Okay, no, they would not get 25% more money. Okay, because that would be £225. If it was shared equally, they'd get £210, which is not 25% more than what they actually got. Okay, so there's a lot of steps in that question. How many marks is that? Okay, that was 5 marks there. Okay, so just look at carefully how we broke it down. Okay, if there's any questions, okay, I can take any questions now before moving on. Okay, question number 4. We're told that it would take 120 minutes to fill a swimming pool using water from 5 taps. How many minutes will it take to fill the pool if only 3 taps are used? Okay, so 120 minutes to fill a swimming pool from 5 taps. How many minutes will it take if only 3 of the taps are used? Alright, so first of all, we need to work out how long would it take for 1 tap. Okay, how long will it take for 1 tap to fill the swimming pool? Now, if it takes 5 taps, 120 minutes, 1 tap is going to take 5 times longer, isn't it? Does that make sense? If it's going to take 5 taps, 120 minutes, then 1 tap is going to take 5 times longer. So therefore, we're going to work out 120 minutes times by 5. Okay, 120 times by 5. Okay, 100 times 5 is 500. 20 times 5 is 100, so 600 minutes per tap. So 1 tap, okay, per 1 tap. So 1 tap is going to take 600 minutes. So therefore, 3 taps is going to take 3 times less. Okay, it's going to take 3 times. It's going to take a third of the time, isn't it? Okay, so 3 taps is going to be, so 3 taps is going to be 600 divided by 3. Okay, which is 200 minutes. The answer is 200 minutes. Okay, just remember that. Okay, so if it takes 5 taps, 120 minutes, one tap's going to take 5 times longer, so you have to times it by 5, so one tap will take 600 minutes, so therefore 3 taps will take a third of the time, 3 times less, so do 600 divided by 3, which is 200 minutes. Now state one assumption you made in working out your answer in part A. Okay, can anybody tell me what the assumption would be? What's the assumption that we made? The assumption would be that the flow of water from each tap is the same. Okay, that's the assumption. That we've assumed that taps have the same rate. Yep, that's correct. Panshu, correct. Taps have the same rate. Absolutely. Okay, that the flow of water from each tap is the same. Okay, that's 3 marks for question number 4. For flowing water. Yep, you got it. Okay, if that one's okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 5. A plane travels at a speed of 213 miles per hour. Work out an estimate for the number of seconds the plane takes to travel 1 mile. Okay, let's change my color. So, it's traveling at 213 miles per hour. We want to work out an estimate for the number of seconds the plane takes to travel 1 mile. Well, we know that the question is the speed of the plane is 213 miles per hour. So first of all, the question says estimate, doesn't it? Now, anytime a question asks you to estimate your answer, you have to round it to one significant figure. Okay, whenever a question asks you to estimate your answer, you have to round it to one significant figure. So 213 miles to one significant figure is 200 miles per hour. That's the first thing, okay? Now, so that's 200 miles per hour. Okay, so that's 200 miles per hour. So I'm going to write that as a ratio. So for every 1 hour, which is 60 minutes, the plane is traveling at 200 miles. Now the question asks us to work out the number of seconds the plane takes to travel 1 mile. So I'm going to scale this down to 1 mile. And I want to look at how much time that takes. So remember, when we're working with the ratio, whatever you do to one side, you have to do the same to the other side as well. So how do you go from 200 down to 1? What do you have to divide by? You have to divide by 200, isn't it? So as I said, with the ratio, whatever you divide one side by, you have to divide the other side by it as well. So do 60 divided by 200. Again, remembering this is non-calculator, so easiest way to do this is write it as a fraction, 60 divided by 200, and now cancel that down. Okay, so 60 divided by 200, well, we can divide both by 10, so we get 6 over 20. Then we can cancel that down, can't we? You can divide both by 2, so you get 6 divided by 2 is 3, 20 divided by 2 is 10. So we get 3/10 of a minute. So the time it takes to travel 1 mile is 3/10 of a minute. Okay, we want the answer in seconds, so we need to work out what 3/10 of a minute is in seconds. So it's a fraction of an amount now. So in how many seconds in a minute? 60. So we're going to work out 3/10 of 60 seconds, because I'm just converting the minutes into seconds. So when we're working out a fraction of an amount, okay, remember all we got to do is divide by the bottom number, divide by the denominator, and times by the numerator. So you get 60 divided by 10 is 6, times by 3 is 18 seconds. And that's your answer, okay? So it takes the plane 18 seconds to travel 1 mile, okay, as an estimate. Now the next question we'll put out to you guys, okay? Now part B says, is your answer to part A an underestimate or an overestimate? Give a reason for your answer. Okay, anybody want to give an answer for that? What do you think? Our answer, 18 seconds, Is that an underestimate or an overestimate? I'll give you a moment to think about it. Okay, Upansh, you saying underestimate. Okay, why? Ask for you to give a reason as well. So what would your reason be? We rounded 213 to 200. Yeah, we did that, didn't we? We rounded 213 miles per hour down, didn't we? Now, you need to get your head around this, okay? Now, that's wrong, okay? It's not an underestimate. Let me explain why. The plane travels at a speed of 213 miles per hour. Now, we rounded that down to 200 miles per hour, didn't we? Yeah? So we rounded the speed down, okay? So we made the plane slower than its actual speed. Do you understand that? Yeah, we rounded it down. So what that means, we've actually made the plane slower than its actual speed. Its actual speed would be faster. Therefore, the time it would take for it to cover that 1 mile would be quicker. Yeah, the actual time it would take the plane to travel that 1 mile would be lower than 18 seconds. Yeah, it would be less than 18 seconds. Therefore, our answer, 18 seconds, is not an underestimate, it's actually an overestimate. Can you see that or no? Let me explain it again. Because we rounded the speed down, we rounded the speed down, okay? We made the plane actually slower than its real speed, didn't we? Yeah. So therefore, in reality, the plane is going to travel quicker, it's going to travel faster, okay? And because the plane's going to, in reality, travel faster, it's going to take less time to do that 1 mile. So it may take maybe 15 seconds in reality, maybe it might take 13 seconds in reality. Therefore, 18 seconds represents actually an overestimate. Okay. Okay, it actually represents an overestimate. Okay, now that's the answer. Give a reason. Okay, so put that in words. Overestimate because the actual speed of the plane would be faster. Therefore, it would take less time to travel 1 mile. Okay. Yeah, it's a tricky one, okay? Just to get your head around that, okay? So that's the answer. It's an overestimate because the actual speed of the plane would be faster, therefore we take less time to travel 1 mile. Alright, everyone happy with question number 5? Altogether that's 4 marks there. And as I said, these questions, the same questions that were on the foundation as well. Okay, let's move on then to question number 6. Okay, so question number 6, we've got simultaneous equations. Okay, now a few different ways we can work on simultaneous equations. Okay. Alright. So let me just get this sorted. So we've got 5x plus y equals 21, and we've got x minus 3y equals 9. Okay, so I'm going to call this equation number 1, and I'm going to call this equation number 2. Now, as I said, there's a number of ways we can you can solve simultaneous equations. Okay, one way is the elimination method, where if you have a common x and a y, then you can subtract or add one from the other depending if it's positive or negative. Another way is you can rearrange one of the equations, make x or y the subjects, and then substitute that back into one of the other equations to solve the other missing term. Okay, now I'm going to use that method where I'm going to rearrange the second equation and make x the subject. So I'm going to rearrange equation 2. So I want to make x the subject, so we're going to get, so the original one is x minus 3y, let me write that down first, equals 9. So x equals 9 plus 3y. Okay, that's it, that's straightforward. So now that we know x equals 9 add 3y, all we're going to do now is we're going to substitute x equals 9 plus 3y into the first equation. So I'm going to now substitute that. I'm going to substitute into equation number 1. So 5 lots of x when x is 9 plus 3y, so we can get 5 brackets, x is 9 plus 3y, add y equals 21. So let's expand the bracket, we get 45, add 15y, add 1y equals 21. 15y add 1y is 16y equals 21, and at the same time that's a plus 45. We're going to move that over to this side, it's going to become minus 45. So 16y equals 21 take away 45 is going to be negative 24. Divide both sides by 16, so you get y equals minus 24 divided by 16. I'm just going to cancel that down. I can divide both by 2, or 8 is better, yeah. Divide both by 8, so you get minus 3 divided by 16 divided by 8 is 2. So minus 3 over 2. Okay, as a mixed number that's minus 1.5. Yeah, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, is negative 1.5. Okay, so we got what, now that we know what y is, okay, let's change my color. What's next? Okay, so now that we've worked out what x is, worked out what y is, okay, yeah, we're just going to now substitute y equals minus 1.5 to work out what x is. Okay, so I'm going to substitute into the top equation. Okay, so now I'm going to substitute that into equation 1. Now it doesn't matter which equation you substitute into. Okay, I'm just going to do in the top one. So we've got 5x add y. Well, we know y is negative 1.5. Okay, so that's the same as saying minus 1.5 equals 21. Simple, just need to rearrange this now, work out what x is. So 5x equals 21, add 1.5, so 5x equals 22.5. Therefore x equals 22.5 divided by 5. Okay, again let's write that as a mixed number, so it's going to be 4.5. So x equals 4.5. Okay, and always remember to check your answer as well. Okay, you just check it by substituting these values in any one of these equations. Okay, and see what you get. So if you had 4.5 x minus 3y, so that's 4.5 minus 3 lots of 1.5 is going to be 4.5. So minus negative 4.5 is the same as addition, so 4.5 and 4.5, the answer is 9. Okay, so by doing that, okay, you know that both these answers are definitely correct. Okay, so x equals 4.5, just write the answer on the line here, and y equals minus 1.5. Okay, that's question number 6, okay, for 3 marks. Okay, I'll give you a moment to have a look at that. If you want to make any notes, you can make some notes. If you have any questions, okay, you may ask any questions now as well, before we move on. Okay, if there's no questions, let's look at question number 7. Okay. Question number 7, the diagram shows a square ABCD with sides of length 20 centimeters. It also shows a semicircle and an arc of a circle. AB is the diameter of the semicircle. AC is an arc of a circle with center B. Show that the area of the shaded region divided by the area of the square is pi divided by 8. Okay, so first of all, how many marks is this question? This is 4 marks. Okay, now so we've got a few steps here. Okay, first of all, let's understand what the question is asking us. We've got a square which is 20 centimeters here, and then we've got this semicircle here. Okay, and then we're also told, so we know that's going to be the diameter, so we know the diameter of that semicircle is 20 centimeters, and AC is an arc of a circle with center B. So what fraction of the full circle will that be? If you're looking at this big one, okay, you'll see that's a quarter of a full circle, isn't it? With the radius for the bigger circle, the 20 represents a radius, not a diameter. Okay, so we need to work out the area of the shaded region. Okay, this bit here. Now the way we're going to get that is we need to work out the area of the full quadrant of that circle, the big circle, the quarter of the big circle, and we need to subtract it from, we need to subtract the area of this semicircle from it as well. That's got a diameter of 20. Okay, so let's look at that then. So the area, let's look at how we're going to get the area of the shaded region. First thing that we need to do, as we said, is we need to work out the area of that quadrant. Okay, now we know that the radius is 20 centimeters. Okay, so we already know that from here to here, that's 20 centimeters. So the area of the quadrant is going to be pi r squared divided by 4, because it's a quarter, isn't it? Yeah, that's a quarter of the full circle. Yeah, that would be a quarter of the full circle. So it's going to be pi times r squared. The radius is 20, so 20 squared is 400, so that becomes 400 pi divided by 4, which is 100 pi. So the area of that quadrant is 100 pi. So we got that. That's in the bag. Next, let's work out the area of that semicircle. Going back up to the question, the semicircle, the diameter is 20 centimeters. So what would be the radius? If the diameter is 20, what's the radius? If the diameter is 20, how do you get the radius? Yeah, remember, you just have to half the diameter to get the radius, so the radius would be 10. So the area of the semicircle is going to be pi r squared, which is the area of the full circle, but we don't want the full circle, we just want half the circle, so we need to divide that by 2. So pi r squared, where the radius is 10, so that's 10 squared is 100, so 100 pi divided by 2. Yeah. 100 pi divided by 2. The answer is 50 pi. Okay. So we got that in the bag now as well. So the area of the shaded region, the shaded region is going to be the difference, isn't it? So if we imagine the area of the shaded region, all of this here is going to be the difference of these two. So it's going to be 100 pi take away 50 pi, which is just 50 pi. Okay, nearly there. Then going back, we need to show that the area of the shaded region, which we've got now is 50 pi, divided by the area of the square is 8. So what's the area of the square going to be? Well, we know the one side is 20, so the area of the square is going to be 20 squared. So the area of the square is going to be 20 squared, which is 400 centimeters squared. Okay, so we've got the two numbers now. Okay, so these are the two important numbers that we need right now, 50 pi and 400 centimeters squared. Now the question asks us something very specific. It wants us to show that the area of the shaded region divided by the area of the square can be written as pi divided by 8. So let's write that down then with the numbers that we've got. The area of the shaded region, which is 50 pi, divided by the area of the square, which is 400. Let's cancel that down. Okay, how can we cancel this down? What can we divide both by? 50, yeah, the highest common factor of 50 and 400 is 50, so divide both by 50. 50 pi divided by 50 is 1 pi. 400 divided by 50 is 8. Okay, and that's how we show that it can be written as pi divided by 8. Let me zoom out a bit. Okay, is everybody okay so far? Okay, so that's the last question from that's the last question that's the same as the foundation. Okay, the following questions are specifically for the higher paper now. Okay, if you're okay, let's go on to the next one then. So question number 8. Okay, got a bit of trig here. Write down the exact value of tan 45. Okay, so remember your exact trig ratios. Okay, the exact value of tan 45 is just 1. Okay, just 1. Okay, simple as that. Now this, just remember, okay, the different ratios, okay, the exact values. Okay, I'll put them here. Okay, if you want to see. Okay, you can have a look online if you haven't already memorized it. There's different ways you can memorize it. Okay, I'll leave that to you. So tan of 45, the answer is 1. Okay, so try your best just to memorize those. Okay, and that'll help you with questions like this. Now it's just a 1 mark question there. Part B, we're told that this is a right angle triangle. Okay, we're told that cos of 60 is 0.5. Work out the value of x, the length of the hypotenuse. Okay, so you remember SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. So we're working with cos 60. Okay, so cos is a over h. So cos is a over h. But we've already been given the value of cos 60. We've been told that cos 60 is 0.5. So we're told that 0.5, which is cos 60, we know there has to be adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. So the adjacent to 60 degrees is 4. The hypotenuse is x. we need to work out the length of x. So we need to basically rearrange this equation, make x the subject. So rearranging this, you get x equals, you're dividing by x here, so when it goes over here you multiply by x, and then you multiply by 0.5, so you just switch them, you divide by 0.5. Okay, so therefore x equals 8 centimeters. 4 divided by a half is 8 centimeters. Okay, so that's 3 marks in total there. Moving on. Question number 9. Okay, so here the times that 48 trains left the station on Monday were recorded. The cumulative frequency graph gives information about the numbers of minutes the trains were delayed, correct to the nearest minute. Okay, so we've got 48 trains left altogether. Okay. The shortest delay was 0 minutes, the longest delay was 42 minutes. On the grid below, draw a box plot for the information about the delays on Monday. Alright, so we're comparing extracting information from a cumulative frequency diagram here and interpreting it on a box plot. Now, just remember with a box plot, okay, the basic, the values that you need, okay, remember you need the minimum and the maximum. Okay, they're going to be the 2 lines here, and that's what this information is telling us here. We're told that the shortest delay is 0 and the longest delay was 42 minutes. So we've got our minimum and we've got our maximum. Okay, then we need to know our lower quartile, we need to know the median, and we need to know the upper quartile. Okay, so these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of information, this is what we need to work out or to draw a box plot. Okay, so we know that the minimum was 0. We know that the maximum was 42, so we can do that then. The minimum was 0, so that'll be a line here. Okay, use this. So that's the minimum. The maximum is 42, so 40, they're going up in 1, so here's 42 here. Okay, not very accurate, hold on. 42. Okay, let me see if I can move that. Okay, no, it's not locking very well. Okay, so you get the idea. So that's going to be 42. Let me try one more time. Alright. (42), and that's 0. Okay, the lower quartile, so remember, well, let's do the median first. To work out the median, we just need to work out n divided by 2, where n is the total number, okay, the total frequency, and here we're told that there were 48, so therefore the median is going to be the 24th train. Okay, so the median is going to be the 24th train, whatever that was. Okay, and we're gonna check that in a second. So we need to work out the 24th train. The lower quartile is going to be the n divided by 4. So again, 48 divided by 4 is going to be 12. So we need to work out again what was the 12th train, what was the delay of the 12th train. Okay, and then finally the upper quartile is the 3/4 of n. Yeah, 3/4 of n. So basically, if you know what the lower quartile is, just times that by 3. So that's going to be 36th. So work out the 36th train. Alright, so let's find the values of those then. We've got the easy bits. We've got the lowest number and we've got the biggest number. So the lower quartile is the 12th train. So find 12 here. Okay. Make this a bit thicker. Yeah, should be right. So there's 10, 11, 12. Okay, and go down. Okay, what value is that? It's 4, isn't it? So the lower quartile is going to be 4. So we know this is going to be 4 minutes. The median is going to be the 24th piece of data. So there's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 here, and go down. Okay, what value is that? 10. Okay, so the median is going to be 10 minutes. And finally, the upper quartile, we know is going to be the 36th piece of the 36th data. So there's 30, 35, here's 36 here, and go down. How many minutes? That's 20 minutes. Okay, so that's going to be 20. Okay, and that's 10. So we just got to now draw those on the box plot. So we know that the lower quartile is 4. Okay, I'll make it a bit thinner. The lower quartile is 4. There. We know the median is 10. Here. And we know the upper quartile is 20. Here. Okay, join those up like this. Okay, for 3 marks. Okay, so just remember when we're finding the lower quartile and upper quartile, we use these formulas: n divided by 4 for the lower, n divided by 2 for the median, and 3/4 of the data times by 3 and then divided by 4. But that tells us that's not the actual lower quartile. The lower quartile is not 12. It's going to be the 12th data in this set. So that's when you go up the cumulative frequency 12, and then you go down to find the delay in minutes. Okay. Next part. It says 48 trains left the station on Tuesday. The box plot below gives information about the delays on Tuesday. Okay, so now we've got for a different day, Tuesday. This is what the box plot looks like. Okay, and we're asked to compare the distribution. Now this is a keyword, distribution. Okay, of the delays on Monday with the distribution of the delays on Tuesday. Now, when it uses the word distribution, now that's basically asking you to compare one of 3 things. Okay, it wants you to either compare the interquartile range, or it wants you to compare the median, or the range time. Okay, one of these 3 things. Okay, that's what it means by distribution. It won't be sufficient for you. So it's got two marks, isn't it? So you're gonna have to make 2 points. It won't be sufficient for you to say that they both had the minimum delay of 0 minutes, or for you to say that Monday had a longer delay of 42 minutes, whereas on Tuesday the greatest delay was only 33 minutes. Okay, that's not gonna get you a mark. Okay, you need to compare one of these 3 things here: either the interquartile range, which is the upper quartile, take away the lower quartile, or you compare the 2 medians, or you compare the ranges. Okay, so let's look at the interquartile range. So the interquartile range is the difference between the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Okay, without even calculating it, you can see that the interquartile range for Tuesday was lower. Okay, so that's 1 point you can make. You can make a point that the interquartile range on Tuesday was lower. Meaning what? That delays were less spread out. Therefore, the delays were less spread out. Okay, that's 1 point that we can make. Okay, the lower quartile, that's the upper quartile, so the interquartile range. Okay, it's less than Monday, isn't it? So the range of delays, okay, we can say based on that, was less on Tuesday. If another one, we can do an easy one. If you look at the median, okay, the median on Monday was 10, the median on Tuesday was 9. Okay, so we can also say that the median delay on Monday was greater. Okay, that'll be sufficient for 2 marks. Okay, but if you want to give an extra one, okay, as I said, you can mention any of the 3 things. If you want to talk about the range as well, let's look at the range of the delays. Okay, clearly Monday had a much greater range of delays, didn't it? Yeah, compared to Tuesday. So we can make a note on that as well, that the range time of delays was less on Tuesday. Okay. Okay, next part. Mary says the longest delay on Tuesday was 33 minutes. Okay, she says that the longest delay on Tuesday was 33 minutes. This means that there must be some delays of between 25 and 30 minutes. Is she correct? You must give a reason. I'll give you a moment to think about that. Okay, tell me if you know. Okay, what do you think? That the longest delay on Tuesday was 33 minutes. Okay, looking at the question. Yeah, that's true. The longest delay on Tuesday was 33 minutes. Okay. This means that there must be some delays of between 25 and 30 minutes. 25 and 30 minutes. So she's saying that there's got to be some delays here between this point and this point. Is she correct? Can we make that statement based on what we're given? Now, okay, she's not correct. Okay, you cannot make that statement based on what we're given. Okay, now the reason for that is this, because all we know, yeah, based on this, we know that the upper quartile, okay, here, the upper quartile here, get that, we know that the upper quartile, which is going to be 3/4 of 48, yeah, the upper quartile, which is 3/4 of 48, okay, which is what? 12, 36, okay. We know that 36 trains here, 36 trains were how late? About 17 minutes late, weren't they? Yeah, we can make the statement that, look, that 36 trains were 17 minutes late. Therefore, the remaining trains, 48 take away 36, which is 12 trains. We know that between here and here is 12 trains. 12 trains that were between 17 minutes and 33 minutes late. Okay, here that's 33, isn't it? So we can't say for certain that a train was late between 25 and 30 minutes. Okay, all we can say is because the upper quartile, 3/4 of 48 is 36, so we know that 36 trains were 17 minutes late. Therefore, the remaining 12 trains were somewhere between 17 minutes late and 33 minutes late. That's the only thing that we can say. We can't say for sure that one of the trains was between 25 and 30 minutes late. Okay, so put that in a sentence. Is Mary right? No. All we can say is that there were 12 trains that were delayed between 17 and 33 minutes. Okay. Everyone following so far? Okay, if there's any questions, any comments, if you want me to repeat anything, okay, please use the live comments box, okay, to ask. Okay, I want to make this as interactive as possible, so don't be shy to ask any questions. I don't mind going through anything again. The main purpose of these sessions is so that you get a bit more confident. Okay, any questions that you have, okay, it's an opportunity for you to ask right now. Okay, so we've been going on for almost an hour now. I'll do one more question and then we'll conclude the session with that. As I said, I am planning on doing I'm planning on doing this in 2 parts, because going over it in one sitting, I know it does take a lot. Okay, so the remaining questions, okay, I'll be doing in part 2, but I'll do one final question today. Okay, just to give you an idea of the different questions that we've got ahead of us. So we've done just over half of the paper, haven't we? Okay, no, we've done just under half. Okay, let's go back. Okay, question 10a. Simplify x minus 1 divided by 5 bracket x minus 1 squared. 1 mark. So how many marks is this question? Okay, so that question altogether on the cumulative frequency and box plots was 6 marks. Okay, 6 marks. Question number 10. X minus 1. Okay, so we want to simplify that. So let's rewrite it down. So we've got x minus 1 divided by 5 multiplied by x minus 1 squared. So I'm going to write it like this. So we got x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. That cancels out. You're just left with 1. So we get 1 divided by 5 bracket x minus 1. Okay. Expand the bottom bracket. You get 1 divided by 5x minus 5. Okay, and that's the answer to part A for 1 mark. Part B, factorize fully 50 minus 2y squared. So looking at 50 and 2, okay, we can factorize by taking out a common 2. So if I write down the question first of all, 50 minus 2y squared, take out a common factor of 2, so we get 25 minus 2y squared divided by 2 is just y squared. Okay, now so that 2, okay, let's ignore that for a second, and we're just looking at this bracket here, 25 minus y squared. Now because we got a y squared, we know there has to be a y in both. Okay, and because it's negative, one of them is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative. Okay, and then just square root 25. Okay, it's going to be 5 and 5. That's how you get that bracket there. So you get 2 bracket 5 plus y and bracket 5 minus y. So for 2 marks is 5 plus y, 5 minus y. Okay, so looking at that again, first thing, we just had to take out a common factor of 2, so you get 2 brackets 25 minus y squared. Should cancelling out the numerator give you 0? Good question. Okay, so you're going back to part A. Cancelling out the numerator does not give you 0. Okay, because look, basically what you're saying, imagine it's like saying this 3 divided by 3. Yeah, those cancel out, doesn't it? 3 divided by 3 cancels out to give you 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, that's why when you do x minus y divided by x minus y, it doesn't cancel out giving you 0, it's 1. Okay, why is it 1? Okay, does that answer the question? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, again, I don't know why there's always a delay with the comments. Not sure. Just make sure where it says live, there's a red dot next to where it says live, and hopefully that skips ahead to the live broadcast. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's carry on then. Yes, just always remember that. Okay, that it's gonna be 1. It cancels down to give you 1. All right, next one, question 11. Now, I did say that's the last question. I mean, it's up to you. Should we stop here and carry on next time, or do you want me to do one more question? I'll leave it up to you. One more. Okay. So question number 11. Okay, Jack and Sadia work for a company that sells boxes of breakfast cereal. The company wants to have a special offer. Here is Jack's idea for the special offer. Put 25% more cereal into each box and do not change the price. So he's saying put 25% more cereal without changing the price. Here's Sadia's idea. Reduce the price. Okay, so she's saying reduce the price, but do not change the amount of cereal in each box. Sadia wants her idea to give the same. She wants her idea to give the same value for money as Jack's idea. So she wants the same value for money. By what percentage does she need to reduce the price? Okay, a lot of things going on in this question. With a question like this, okay, so I've already highlighted the piece of information which I think are important. Now, we've not been given any information about how much cereal there is in a box or what's the cost. All we're given is just their ideas. So I'm going to assume that 100 grams costs £1. Now the reason I've chosen those numbers because they're easy to work with without a calculator. So if we assume that the 100 grams costs £1. Okay, that's going to be our starting point. Okay, and now based on that, we're going to apply both of their ideas and see what happens. Okay, so let's look at Jack's idea first of all. So what does Jack say? Jack says that for his special offer, put 25% more cereal into the box, but don't change the price. Okay, so as I said, let's assume that 100 grams costs £1. So his idea would be 25% more would be 125 grams. Without changing the price, would be £1. Straightforward, yeah? So that's his idea. Now, for Sadia, we need to find out how much 100 grams costs based on Jack's idea. Because let's look what Sadia says. She's saying that reduce the price, but do not change the amount of cereal in the box. Okay, so she wants to reduce the price and do not change the amount of cereal in each box. Okay, so what do we need to do? So for Sadia, let's write it down. We need to work out basically using Jack's special offer of 125 grams is £1. We need to work out how much she needs to charge to bring it to 100 grams. So I'm going to bring down Jack's ratio first. So Jack was 125 grams for £1, yeah. So Sadia, she wants to change the price, but she does not want to change the amount of cereal in each box. So she wants to keep it at 100 grams, doesn't she? So she wants to keep that the same, 100 grams, but she wants to charge less. So we need to figure out how much she needs to charge. Okay, so I've written as a ratio because we need to scale it down. So from 125 to get to 100. Okay, what do you need to do? You need to, well, what do you multiply 125 by to get to 100? Well, divide by 100. Divide by 125. Yeah, 125. And times by 100. So we need to basically work out 100, 125ths of 1. Okay. Now that 100 over 125, let's cancel that down. Make it a bit more pleasant. Cancels down to 4/5. Yeah. So therefore, Saudi needs to reduce the price by 20%. Okay, yeah, that's the correct answer. Let's work through it together. So multiply this by 4/5 as well. So 4/5 of £1 is 80p. Okay. So therefore, Sadia has to sell 100 grams for 80p to give the same value as Jack's idea. So that's that. But we need to work out the percentage decrease. Percentage decrease. Yeah, so well, the money was £1, wasn't it? I'm going to call it 100p. 100p multiplied by whatever the percentage is to give you 80p. Okay, so divide by 100, so you get x equals 80 divided by 100, which x equals 80%. So she needs to sell it at 80% of the price. So 80% of the price, which represents a 20% decrease, like you said. So this represents a 20% decrease, or a 20% reduction. So 3 marks here, 20% is the answer. Okay, so that's 3 marks there. Okay, any questions about anything we've done so far? Okay, as I said, okay, we'll stop there. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll be around for a couple of minutes if there's any other questions you had. But yeah, if you follow me follow my page on Facebook, there I'm going to be updating the dates and the times when I'm going to do these sessions. Okay, I hope you found it useful. If you have any feedback, okay, any suggestions, any ideas, what can I do different? Okay, how can I make it more engaging? How can I make it more interactive? Please let me know. Okay, so I'll be around for a couple of minutes if there's any other questions you had. You can ask, but otherwise, thank you for joining me today. and keep posted, okay, when I do my future videos as well. Okay, thank you. Yeah, the sort out the delay in the comments. I mean, I'll look into that. I mean, that's the only thing I find a bit irritating is the delay in the comments. I'm not sure. As I say, I'll look into it. I mean, I thought that by pressing the live button, making sure that's red, that brings you right up to speed. But it seems that's not the case. Um, so I'll look into that. Yeah, I mean, for it to be really interactive, I need that to be absolutely live. And I'm even trying it myself. I've gone to my Chrome browser and I'm still finding there's a delay. Yeah, and obviously I want as many people to benefit from this. I mean, I'm doing it for free, um, and really the main idea is to go through as many past papers as possible. So please share these with people you know, with your friends, anybody you think that might benefit from these sessions. I'm doing foundation and I'm doing higher as well. Really, for maths, the best way to get better, get prepared for exams is by doing as many past paper examples as you can. Okay, and so my plan is to go through every single one since the new spec started in 2017. Okay, to go through each one. Okay, not only those, but going through the practice papers as well, the predicted papers, all those. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. Okay, and I'll see you in my next live stream. Okay, goodbye.